You're now watching a clip from the Inspired by show. You can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to head over there, leave us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed it, and follow the show. What would you say has been the most discomfort you've experienced in growing your brand, growing your businesses?
I mean, initially, the haters can get you down. I'll tell you the type of hater that I struggle the most with. It's not the critic, because you can learn from them. It's not a hater because, most of them are just unhappy people. It's not the wanker, because a wanker will always be a wanker. It's the ones that go for your business, defamation, libel. That gets me, because I take my business really seriously. I don't want my business to be damaged. And often it happens on the weekend when they drink and get pissed over the weekend. Sunday nights is fucking classic for it. I bet if you looked at any of your 1-star reviews, and hopefully you've got a few, you need a few. If you don't have a few, you're not pushing yourself hard enough or out there enough. But I bet you a lot of them come in at 2 a.m. on Sunday night. I mean, the threads used to kick off on social media at that sort of time when people have got pissed. And it felt really unfair. So, that would, I guess, be my kryptonite. And I deal with that really quickly, and I think that's important. Can you just remind me of the question?
When you've been felt the most discomfort?
Yeah. So, certainly defamation and libel. What happens is, as you transcend each level, new devil, and some other new challenge manifests. And now I'm just grateful for the new challenge, because it means I'm progressing, because there's also equal reward. So, for example, security is quite an issue for us at the moment. I can't wear some of my watches, they're too expensive. And I know that sounds like, oh, poor Rob, but I like watches. I do. I've had my cars tracked by criminals, and I've had sort of security issues. Thankfully, nothing at the kids yet, but I know people who are very rich or have big influence. That is the next level. Some of them I know have been kidnapped, or held at gun or knife point for their watch or their car. So that's the side no one wants. It's not a nice side. And thankfully, I'm a good, maybe I need to make, I think Andrew Tate, I know, because I think he's admitted this, but not in the exact words. So I think I know what I'm about to say. I think there were some warnings with Andrew Tate before, he got imprisoned, and then it extended and extended and extended and extended. And Andrew Tate is convinced he's innocent, so let's say he is. If he is, there would have been multiple warnings. There were multiple warnings, probably from some very powerful people, which are like, shut up. And he didn't. And I'm not saying he should have, or shouldn't have, but as he was getting bigger and more powerful and saying more outrageous things, and I don't mean that in right or wrong, I mean that as in, polarizing and controversial, there would have been warnings there. I haven't had a warning yet, but I like to think if very fucking powerful people started warning me, okay, that's my level. And that's difficult, because why would you not want to push it? But I felt like, shit, I'm getting close to that at some point. I don't want anything to happen to my family, for sure,
That's, I think, the shadow side of success, though. A lot of people will look at you and go, oh, Rob's life, I'd love to have Rob's money, I'd love to see what he does. But what they don't see is...
I'd love to have my money, my wife's got most of it.
But they think I want to have the cars, the watches. But what they don't see is the other side. And I recently interviewed Spencer Lodge, who I know you know.
Yeah.
And he was telling us on the show that when he was doing his documentary, was getting bullets in the mail and death threats for him and his family. And I just find that, terrifying, because when we start a business, I certainly haven't gone, that's when I'll have made it. I want to have 200 million. I want to be having this fear, because I think, like you say, the level changes, but I don't know if you agree, you don't always know what the devil's going to be at that level. It's not like you go in with your eyes wide open.
Well, yes and no. You don't know what you don't know, and if you've not been there, you don't know. But you can get mentors and speak to people who've been there. And this is, I'm talking about this stuff a bit ahead of time. Hopefully it doesn't happen to me, but ahead of time, because I've seen the clues. I haven't had any bullets in the mail, and I haven't had any death threats, but I've had some pretty fucking nasty shit that's just below that. Been blackmailed, been stalked, and stuff that's not great. So yeah, you and then part of you thinks, well, let's say you become very successful and very influential, and actually you're campaigning well, and maybe you are making a difference in getting taxes down and resisting a cashless society, and then you're getting fucking death threats on the other side. What do? Stop? I don't know. And this is the thing. I'm pretty sure Andrew Tate had that moment, and then he got another one and another one, and it didn't. And he's just bulldozed through it like a fucking rhino, and he is where he is now. What will I do when it's my time? I don't know. I wouldn't want to be a coward, but I wouldn't want to put my family in any kind of risk. But the good news is you can make easy 10 million or 50 million and get nowhere near any of that. Or the worst you'll have is a few people calling you a twat online, and having a few refund requests. And we had a 1-star review, someone calling us fraudsters. We're not fucking fraudsters. We've been in 17 years. We've got millions in the bank. I refunded someone who put a little complaint online when he was out of terms of the refund, and he'd just been diagnosed as being ill, and just changed his mind because he'd been diagnosed as being ill. It's not my fucking fault, but I refunded him anyway. I did what I thought was a nice thing. And then someone else kicked off and wanted a refund, and then 1-starred me for being a fraudster.
Yeah.
So, and that's the worst it'll be at 10 million, we're at what? 23 a year, 23 million, something like that in the training business. And, thankfully it's not that at that point yet. But people who get to that big level, think how many death threats Donald Trump would have had. Some people, they got assassinated for being themselves, didn't they? Not going to happen to 99.9% of us, and isn't necessarily something that should scare you. It was just you asked, and I wanted to be honest about the answer, i.e. I could have said, a couple of times, sales have been low, or the lockdown. But the ones that keep me up at night are the security related ones, yeah.